In my opinion, this motor behind me here, this is one of the best, cheap, inexpensive used outboard motors you can pick up for a small fishing boat like this. So this is a 1980s Honda 7.5 horsepower, 4-stroke. 10 horsepower also uses the same design. You know, I've picked up dozens of these over the years, pretty much all for under 200 bucks, some of them even free, such as this one. So yeah, this motor was given to me for free by a subscriber named Sam. So yeah, I appreciate you, brother. He asked me to fix it. It was a non-running condition. He just wanted to make a video on it, so he gave it to me for free. So actually when I got it, it was actually missing some parts in the carburetor and the water pump, but I had a ton of parts for this motor, so I swapped those on. And I accidentally lost the footage actually of me doing that work. I was riding stand-up jet ski, wiped out, just looked down and my GoPro was gone. So I've lost that footage. I still have a good amount of footage I'll show you guys of me working on these. And at the end of this video, I'll tell you why I think these are some of the best cheap outboard motors. Yeah, so I had a hunch why this Honda 7.5 wasn't peeing any water. So I got the lower unit dropped again. And this is the water line off of a parts Honda. You can see that like rubber grommet at the end. So that goes onto the end of the housing. And so sure enough, I didn't notice it until now. But yeah, this copper line doesn't have that rubber grommet. So I gotta take that off. Wasn't getting a good seal. So that's why I was pumping weak water. So yeah, we'll put this on. All right, got this little rubber grommet on. So let's install this again and we'll find out if it pees better water. It's been a few months since I've actually even touched this Honda here. I worked on it yesterday, just forgot to record, but I pumped gas into it. It was running for a second and then I started just shooting fuel out of it. So that float was sticking. You know, these carbs are really finicky. I've worked on these a lot. You know, it only took a few months for this to already like get gummed up and not run right because I left fuel sitting in the carb. So yeah, I took the carb off, cleaned that, cleaned the float. There's just a little bit of stuff like on the needle. And then fired it up yesterday and it was actually running pretty decent. It was actually peeing water. I think last time I worked on this, it wasn't peeing water. I actually changed out this hose here. The old one was like cracking and just wasn't getting a good seal. So yeah, I need to do something about the stop button. I don't have this part lying around. Usually I have like spares. It's just really just a little plunger piece that stops the connection in there. You could just get like a pick and stop it, but yeah, I got a stop button we're gonna hook up, so just gotta basically just follow these wires, cut the wires, and then resplice a new stop button. All right, so I got this red stop button like halfway rigged up. It's pretty easy. There's just a little nylon washer that slides on the back. So like here's the old stop button. There's just two ring connectors. One of them went to this connection on the coil here. The other one went down here to this bolt just as a ground wire. So with this new one, it doesn't have those ring connectors. So basically just got to splice them, add ring connectors like these. And shouldn't really matter the color, but I'll just put the red one on the coil and this black one will be my ground wire. All right, so my GoPro died and I did some work to this Honda I didn't show, so let me run you through what we got going on here. So I got this thing running. It wasn't really running right. It didn't sound like it was running right. Sounded like it was running on one cylinder. So I started pulling the spark plug boots off, and sure enough, I pulled this bottom boot off and it sounded like it was running exactly the same. It didn't like die or drop in RPMs or anything. So yeah, I believe it was only getting spark on this top cylinder. So I've worked on these Hondas in the past. This is the non-CDI version. And I had a similar issue where the ignition coil wasn't making like solid ground contact with these screws. And so I swapped coils. This is a used coil in better condition than the one that was on there. And so yeah, here's the old coil. I mean, you can see how rusted out these contact points are. And so yeah, I wasn't getting spark, I believe, just because these contact points were bad. Same issue I had on another motor. So yeah, with this new coil on, or newer coil in better condition, it's getting a lot better spark and sounds like it's running right now. All right, so another thing with these older Hondas is, for some reason, I can't really explain why. Maybe it has to do with water pressure, but you know, if we look at the bucket right here, I mean, the water line's like right here, and these motors like will not pump water unless the water line is like at least like halfway up the midsection. Not sure why, but that's just how they are. So if you got like a smaller bucket, like it's not gonna pump water. You need to have a tall enough bucket that can get at least halfway up the midline. So I'll fire it up and kind of show you what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's running. It's not peeing any water. So we'll just start adding water. You'll see it eventually. It will start peeing water once it gets to the right height. I think it just wants like enough pressure on that water pump or something, but yeah, it should start kicking in pretty soon here. Water's getting higher. There it goes. Like the higher, the better. So if you change your impeller and it's not pumping water, try a taller bucket. Then you should hopefully see a water stream. So yeah, it's still actually running on one cylinder, even with this coil. So I'll just pull this bottom one off. You see, no difference. Maybe a slight difference, but yeah, when you pull the top off, it'll shut off. Let's just see if we can even start it on one cylinder. So we got that off. Yeah. Run on one cylinder. Well, I pulled this bottom plug out, and you can see there's zero gap. This plug's like smashed, so that's why I wasn't getting spark. I got a bunch of these plugs, so let's throw a new plug in that's gapped right and see if we get spark. All right, with that new plug, it's sounding a lot better, but now it's idling too high because it was running on one cylinder. Turn it down a little bit. There we go, it's a little better. Let's just confirm too. Take this bottom one off, see if we can hear it dropping RPMs. Yep. So that's how it sounded before. You can hear it jump up in RPMs. So yeah, just that smashed plug was the reason why I wasn't getting spark. Stop button still working good. Fire right back up. Yeah, and I changed the oil here. There's no oil filter on these older ones. Taking off the oil cap. There we go. Yeah, pretty brown. All right, thankfully on the side here, it tells you what oil, so 10W30, 0.8 liters. So that's what we're gonna put in right now. See what this baby's got. Downriver, see how fast we get. So yeah, as you guys saw, this is a good running motor. You know, for this being around 40 years old, you know, this is still a good running motor. I mean, this version came in a non-CDI, and they also have a CDI from the 1980s. So both models, pretty much the same design. They both work really good. Like I said, I've owned dozens of these over the years, and pretty much all of them, usually they just need a carb clean and that's it. They're pretty simple design. Like I said, you can still get parts for these. I bought tons of parts on eBay for these, and they must have produced a lot of these because I still see a lot of them posted, you know, for sale on Facebook, Craigslist, OfferUp. So if you can get these for pretty cheap, these are good little motors. Well, I'll just talk about the few cons I have on these. I really just have two. One being that these older generation 4-strokes, they're pretty heavy. It's gonna be a lot heavier than like a 2-stroke of the similar horsepower. But that same thing can be said for any of these early generation 4-strokes. You know, they're gonna have your oil reservoir built in, timing belt, all that kind of stuff adds extra weight to it. And the other con I have on these, the carbs can be a little bit sensitive. You know, I actually let this sit for like a month or two, like you saw, and that float got stuck and was leaking fuel. So these are very sensitive to having good fuel in them. I would definitely run the fuel dry out of these if you're gonna store it for more than like a month or so. But that same thing can be said also for any other outboard you have. Just old fuel causes problems in these carburetors. So when it comes to Honda outboards, Honda started making 4-stroke outboards as early as like the 1960s, which is crazy because all the other like major brand of outboards, they didn't even start diving into 4-strokes until like the late 80s, early 90s. So Honda was like way ahead of the game, way ahead of their time. So this is a 1980s model, so they had already been making 4-strokes for like 20 years, which is why this is still a really good option if you're looking for a cheap, reliable outboard. You know, the pros again, it's a 4-stroke, it's gonna be fuel efficient. The design of it's super simple, so they're easy to work on. And they made a ton of these, so there's still a lot of parts available for them. So yeah, if you're just looking for a cheap outboard to get you out on the water that's reliable, I'd definitely check out these older Hondas. Well, that's gonna conclude this video. It's so damn hot in Sacramento, my GoPro keeps shutting off because it's overheating. If you've owned one of these older Hondas, let me know in the comments what you think of them. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you on the next one. Thanks, guys.